Greetings. Whoever seeks to do the Father's will know true doctrine, Messiah said. Agreed plainly. These are his people. And then the others don't seek the Father's will with their heart. Therefore they won't know. They'll be blinded in delusion, teaching doctrines of demons, evil works continually, selfish work, self-righteousness, all for self, thinking about self constantly, projecting an image to be seen by others as the projector wants to be seen as something. But there's a lot of liars in this world, and it must be so. Like we read, many false prophets shall go out and deceive many. But all through Scripture, this has always been true. Someone can see, that it's always been true, and it will be true right up to the end. But at the end, more divisions, confusion, and deceptions than even 100 years, any time before. It's like multiplied. The sin in the heart is always there, but it's somehow magnified through, even the last few decades, 100 years or so. Just it's getting crazier in the heart. It's like the image is slipping, and it just must be so. And there's people out there that openly say, but why do they really teach what they teach? As a doctrine is what someone has in their heart. It means something. And if someone has leaven inside their heart, false doctrine, that can only be there because that's what their heart actually believes and sees. So that's why the leaven needs to get removed. It's like, one of the 7 days, unleavened, purge out the old leaven, and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees, because they're only set out to destroy people spiritually and pump in secret leaven, which they never say what they believe and never believe what they say. They say the words as the teaching, but then the Creator needs to give us discernment. What does it actually mean? And when we find out what the doctrine means for the heart, that is the heart of that doctrine that's in someone still. Of course, always needing to be careful, because Messiah's people are not come out of the world in one day. But nevertheless, it's true. It's a doctrine inside someone's heart. If it's an extraordinarily prideful doctrine, there's a reason why someone would hold on to it dearly, because the heart's still incredibly prideful. It needs to start getting out. Why do people do this? What does it really mean? Some of the things the world does, is it in disobedience and not wanting to bow in the heart right now? Is that the condition of man? And so then doctrine will flow with what the person actually believes. We're not interested in what people say only. What do they actually teach and believe in their heart? As knowing man is a liar and our Creator is true. Let man be a liar, every man. Not overcoming lies without the Father in us, and Messiah in us. Not even possible to do His commandments without Him teaching us. If people would seek the Creator's will, He will teach us and lead us to do what we read, His way, the only way. But anyone that truly does not seek the Father's will are doing it their own way. And this is self-way, self-righteousness, creating their own righteousness and believing what we do our own way is right, which will be wrong, because the Creator doesn't allow an actual our own way without strong punishment and delusion, even some mercy mixed in with this. As someone in utter delusion, let's say, in this world, the person will not believe they're in delusion or blind. it's like a little bit of mercy mixed in, even with the strong judgment. Because if they would see, they would be terrified of how crazy and wise and blind life is, a delusion, and all, like we read in Romans 5, I think it's 5, Messiah died for his people, not just for his people, but as an example, those that were believing, as the apostle was saying, died for us, while they were still full-blown sinners and enmity. And so this world has no clue. What is that? All right. It's getting noisy out there. Died for us while still full-blown enemies. I mean, not even remotely worshiping the Creator in spirit and truth. Full-blown enemies. The Messiah did that for those that were believing and will believe, like we read. Showing something that the Father's already done this and is doing this. And then as we read Romans, I think it's in 5, the apostle is giving the words and explaining what actually happened, but it's not fulfilled fully, but it might as well be. This is the plan, what happened. And no one is better than someone else. Someone not seeing this at all, it's a question whether they're a believer, He died for his people that believe while they were full-blown enemies, while they did nothing but wickedness and hatred towards the Creator already, as the natural man is at hatred and war. From birth, he's the natural man. The flesh is against the spirit, warring against the spirit, as we read also. They are enmity, they cannot be. And the flesh is against the spirit so that we do not do what we want to. So we can't do what we want to. So we don't do as we wish. This isn't being understood. Nothing is in the church world. Spiritually backwards, proving there's no stupid free will, as the rebellion teaches. And that's why the apostle says, doing what you don't want to do, not doing what you want to do. This is the war. And it actually, for his people, his favor protects them so that they don't do what they want to do, because that would be death. And spirit is against the flesh. It's a difficult tribulation. And I think it's in Romans 5 once again. Taking tribulations and persecution. Learning to do that's a perfect thing. Let alone say there's no tribulation. What does that even mean for a believer? Someone's just boldly claiming that out in this world. What are they talking about? They're not even talking about anything. What if someone is out saying no tribulations, no tribulations? What does it say for their heart and what its heart really believes? No tribulation in Messiah. Offended by Messiah, hate Messiah. Because that way is only tribulation, only persecution. To do the Father's will and follow the Lamb, and Messiah was persecuted with tribulation constantly, hated by all, literally. But only the disciples getting to the point of believing, brought in near to believe, as the Spirit was poured out afterwards. Just the few, whoever is of Messiah, won't hate Messiah, the true one. Yahushua, not Jesus Christ, the anti-Messiah, another spirit being poured out people from the enemy, taking on another spirit. Yes, they're hurting people by what is that word, droves, by the flocks. The world's getting better and better, and it's actually literally proving it's getting nastier and even more delusional and crazy and blind. What they call good is evil. They call good evil and evil good. What they call many being saved and brought near is many in destruction, brought near to the devil, closer to darkness and further down the pit. These people just out of a delusion, punishment. There's no reality to anything. Just saying words, bumper stickers, I love, and this and that. Peace, peace, doing exactly what we read. Doing exactly what we read the false prophets and many called in Scripture has always done. They don't actually want real peace. When they see it, they're afraid and hate it and murder it. They don't actually want love or have love. That's why they're going around saying love, 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 love everywhere. To cover that they don't have any love. They don't know what it is and what it means, because no one can have love without his spirit, because the Father is love, and there's no love in the devil. Only something that they try to look like what love is, but there's no actual understanding at all. Zero. Without his spirit, there's no actual understanding or love in this world. It just opens its mouth and speaks the delusion. It's never speaking of anything real. It's a delusion. I don't know how else to say it. It's like a cover, and that cover is a delusion. There's no reality. They just do this out of being punished constantly and judged. Sent strong delusion to anyone who doesn't actually love truth, Father's truth. It's strong. It always has been. They just speak words that make that they think feel good, sound good, make self look good. It's all for self. How isn't the world seeing it? Blind, that's why. All for self, what it does. So what would people do that don't bow, that don't want to believe in the Creator and do his will, that hate him still continually? Come up with doctrine that says every knee already bowed past tense, so that they don't have to. It's not about literally that that's true so they don't have to. It's about what the heart is doing and believes. My goodness, it's a nightmare out there. Just noise and diesels and things being cut. The world has no peace spiritually. Zero. There's no rest. I swear they shall not enter my rest, we read. Those in continual sin, not wanting to do the Father's will, have no rest already. They have to do certain things, be in and of the world and love the world, to keep their mind off of the torment the best they can, which will lead to no rest. They have to jump up and down and get loud in religion because they have no rest. They have to look like, as their father teaches them, the devil, to try to look like what the Spirit is, the Father's Spirit, what set apartness is. Just doing their best to make it look like, masquerading as believers and apostles and as messengers of light. Not even thinking about it, just already doing that, already knowing how to do evil and deception. It's already what the heart is. It's not to come someday. It's always been. It already is. Yes, every knee bowed, every tongue confessed already, even though 2,000 years of people needing to be born and live that didn't even exist. Past tense back then, every knee bowed and every tongue confessed. I wonder what that heart really believes. Yes, it believes it will not bow. It's in rebellion right now. It teaches doctrine so that it can escape judgment, and believes because it does this, it escaped the judgment, and judgment's now to come. Obviously that's not true or any reality, but that's what the deceptive, deceitful heart believes. That's how much of a God it is, that because it says words and fits doctrines according to its own heart and deceit, that it's true, solved. I'll make something go away. That way it fixes the problem, and the word goes away, the seed goes away, a foul spirit takes it. Problem solved. Literally believes that it's wise and the problem is solved. If they teach doctrine already knowing how to do evil, to sound good, smooth words, sucking people in, but what it really means spiritually in the heart is everyone already bowed, therefore no one will believe, no one will bow. That's just for self, so that it escaped the judgment. That's why it does this. It's in delusion, it's confusion and rebellion. It's so prideful that it believes if I just come up with doctrine and then use scripture to believe whatever I want to believe and make it fit, that when it makes it fit and answers its own question, creating its own righteousness and doctrine of demons, when it answers its own doctrine, oh, done, it's the truth, too bad. There's no reality to anything. In the church world, in full preterism and all these stupid names, Calvinism, Baptist, King James only debates, and worthless things like this. No reality to anything. If we say these words, then we're right, then what we say is true. No reality, it's a delusion. Has nothing to do with anything that's actual, true, and good, and the Creator's will. Learning what His will is for us, His commandments to learn and do. I don't have any other way, as I said many times. The delusion is scary because there's no reality to it. But it doesn't look like that to someone that's not seeing. We can't create our own doctrine and then answer it ourselves, and therefore when we answer it, it's true, because we know it's seeking the Father's will at all, seeking what truth is, what His connection issues. Oh, okay, I don't know what that is. The devil's trying to bother me, I guess, or something. And so then specifically this thing of just a massive leaven that they pump into people. And it's in the heart already. And doctrine, they need to create doctrine that spiritually has them saved already. It's not a birds. Why is it being taught? Why is this or that true? Finally, that thing stopped making noise. Probably start up again. People want doctrine teaching. That just means they answer their own doctrine. If we say this, well then, and then using scripture, then we're saved. It's over. It means we're saved, it's over. Why did the heart do that? What does it mean spiritually in the heart? It's creating doctrine, things it wants to believe already, to make itself saved already. And if that's true, what they say, then it's true. It's saved because it said so, because it created doctrine to fit what it wants, so that it doesn't run the race or do any good or submit to the Creator and do His will and suffer persecution and tribulation from this world, which required on the narrow way constantly, increasing only as a woman increases in her pain. Before a birth, it's a spiritual tribulation within. It's required, and they're offended, like we read, and many will be offended and walk away. They create doctrine that they just want to believe that fits what they already are in their heart. It's creating doctrine that already their heart is. This can't be seen by a carnal man. This is only to be given by the Father, discernment from above, testing the Spirit, testing the teaching, testing everything, proving it. Why is it being done? Why is it taught? What do they really mean by this or that doctrine? Why do they teach Jesus, the Messiah is God? What's really going on there? Because it believes it's God in its own mind. It needs to create doctrine that sucks many people in, and then install the leaven, the spiritual wickedness of the doctrine that it really is, what it really believes in the heart, because a fool pours out his folly. That's what the blind don't understand, is that when we're given sight to see by the Father, to start seeing the meaning, they're pouring out what their heart really believes, but they think they hid it. They think no one can see that they believe they're God in their heart. It's already a God in its own mind, in the heart and mind. It's already God and works as if it's God, but only to be seen in spirit. Why people do things, the thoughts and intentions of the heart. When it creates and adds and takes away, that's God works in its own mind. It's doing as it pleases. I want something to be true, therefore I look for it and create it and find it, and now it's true. That's acting as if it's God. Only a blinding, strong delusion for those that don't actually seek the Father's will is all that's available. Punishment, blinding. It's always looking for what the heart already is. It's looking for doctrine that matches the heart spiritually. They already know how to do this because of the Father's judgment. It's like an utter taking a person in its own deceit and trapping them. I mean, utterly taken when we don't want to do the Father's will and seek his things and truth from above, his way constantly. And that's it for us, what his will for us. And when believers actually are believing and have the Spirit, because they're seeking the Father's will, they're going to become one, because the Father will give the same things in spirit, his Spirit and truth, and they'll learn and grow the same things because the Father teaches his people truth and no contradictions. Start lining up, start becoming one. His people are one, as the Father and Messiah are one. That those going their own way will only be divisions and scatterings and fighting each other over it. Neither of them, all of them not knowing. Only speaking of the delusion sent to them that the Father chooses for everyone. I will choose their delusions, we read. They believe what they want to believe. They already believe what their heart is, God. On earth, man. Just the noise here is insane. It's prideful motorcycle riders revving it up every 5 seconds, needing recognition because it's incredibly insecure and prideful and wicked. Because it's incredibly in rebellion. It needs to show how strong it is. So the Father makes someone a fool. They have to do the sin that pours out what the heart really is, but they do it in a delusion, thinking they're good, they're strong, look at me. When they do these works, they can't see what it really is. They don't know why they're making that much noise and revving up and going 6,000 RPM on 25 miles per hour, you know. It needs recognition. It needs to do things in delusion to prove it's God constantly in its own mind. But the Creator in reality judges and makes everyone a fool. In reality, when we start seeing the spiritual things, why they're doing it, it's actually pouring out its folly and stupidity and sin. It's pouring out that it believes it's God and it's insecure because there's no reality to it. It's a punishment to be a God in our own mind and pride. So it has to do works now that pour out its folly. There's nothing else man can do. In their own mind, thinking they're doing what's right and good, and they're prideful is good, and look at me, I'm mighty, making a lot of noise, showing off. It's doing that because it's in destruction. It has to. It's in strong judgment. It's doing that because it needs to make noise, because it's got no rest inside. It needs to show how good someone is because it's incredibly sick in the heart and no good. It needs to start showing how good they are by telling people, look how much I do, give, and charities and all this. All the good they do only to be seen by men. Pour out the folly continually because of the torment, the judgment on them constantly, on this world. The torment in the presence of the Lamb day and night. Already true. Already true. It doesn't even understand if the heart's intention on why someone did something, they'll always deny it because it's in delusion and pride. It can never acknowledge why it really did it. It doesn't even understand itself what it needs to understand and see. It will reject it every single time because it can't acknowledge truth and what the heart's actually doing. It's too prideful and a God in its mind. Therefore, because someone is a God in their own mind and heart, it can never receive correction. You know, this work or that work done with this reason never can be acknowledged. As Messiah said, you seek to kill me, to the Pharisees. It's obvious. They were pouring out their folly spiritually to be seen. Messiah saw that they sought after him to kill him. It was obvious for him to see. It's like watching a child rebel. And then the child says, thinking it's wise, I didn't do it. I'm not doing that. And we're just standing staring at it in disbelief. What do you mean you didn't do that? It's incredibly obvious. It's obvious as a parent looking at a 5-year-old on what it did, and then the child lies and says it didn't do it. And it thinks it's wise when it does that, when it does lies and rebellion and wickedness. It actually believes that's good and is wise when it does evil. They have to believe they're better and trick someone That's the punishment, pouring out its folly. It's obvious it's blind and knows nothing. That's why it needs to control people and constantly, get up in someone's face and say, you got to do it this way. You got to do it this way. Look how wise I am. Because it's void of any understanding or control. It's out of control itself. Therefore, it needs to control people to hide that it's out of control. They have to sin like this world, and pour out its folly, because the Father makes sin utter stupidity. It's utterly foolish. It's like watching 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds pour out their stupidity, as an example with children. And they think they can trick the parents because they're in rebellion. They don't want authority over them. Church world's in rebellion. There's no authority in their mind. They're God. If someone's a God in their heart, how could they have the Father? That needs to have a deadly blow. That needs to start dying. Be reckoned as dead. The sins are keeping separate. Being a God in our own mind, Father has nothing to do with. Only blinding judgment and delusion, showing his mighty power and judgments. But only for those that are in Messiah will start learning and seeing these things. No one else will agree or believe. They've been hiding that all along. They're too prideful of a 5-year-old to agree or what their heart's really doing and why it's doing it. Everyone around the person will agree with them because they all do the same spiritual wickedness in the heart, in the high places. And then they got the numbers. And then they have the devil's smirk, hiding behind their cover, actually believing it's good that they're hiding behind their cover. They shoot arrows behind their cover, behind cowardness. They can never be what their heart actually is and say what they actually want to believe because of punishment. They're in literal spiritual slavery every day. Literal slavery in a prison every day while it thinks it's good and free. It's literally in prison. That's how blind it is. While it believes it's good and wise, it's become fools. It's like someone in a literal prison showing off how good they are and that they're free. And then in anger, it says, you're in prison, to Messiah's people. And the person outside of prison is staring at them. I'm telling you, this is exactly what I'm seeing. Everywhere, every day, people are in sin. This is how stupid sin is. Every time someone attacks, they're utterly blind and stupid. They can't see themselves, what they actually do. Talking about real things, because the false prophets out there teaching false doctrine never do. Because they're the examples of unbeliever and punished continually with sin, blind. You can't correct them. They start raging and fuming and pouring out their folly while they believe they're good. They need to believe you're evil and you're doing evil and you're lying. So they will. Nothing can change their heart and mind because they have to do that. Because they're in sin. Pour out their folly that they want people in sin. But everyone is lower than themselves. They're better than everyone and they're right about everything. They never can answer questions. They get confounded. They act as if it doesn't exist. Once again, because it's so incredibly prideful, it'll just ignore the question and then say, you're not answering my questions. It's doing that right in front of our face. It's claiming what it's doing right this minute. And there is no proof for Messiah's people doing it. This doesn't mean we never make mistakes. It's not the point. But, in the example, not doing unrighteousness. They have to claim that you do this or that. It's the very thing they're doing. They're hiding behind a cover. So they have to attack and do sin, evil. They have to murder to protect the image of the beast. It's punishment. Anyone protecting the image of the beast, their cover, has to sin continually and pour out their folly. There's no other way. They can't hide it. But in their mind, a God in its mind, thinking they're good and hiding it, that there's no creator. My goodness, that's a strong delusion. Yes, every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. The day is coming when they'll be exposed for everything they did, and their stupid doctrine won't do anything for them. Because they said, I don't want to believe and bow in my heart. I create doctrine. And then I teach people false doctrine and sell books. That's why they do it. And get worship to deceive people. And the more people that you deceive in the devil's kingdom, the more rewards worldly that you get. Yes, it is. They have incentive to do evil. More carnal rewards while they earn more destruction and stupidity and blind. In reality, but all the blind people following can't see any of it. And they're all going into a ditch. They're going to be exposed in an utter shame and contempt, and they will bow the knee and confess. Every God will bow, and every God will confess that they're not God, and that they did all the sins that Messiah's people were learning about and saying and warning people about. They will acknowledge they did it all, see that they did it all. They didn't do a single good work in their whole life, never overcoming lie. If one person is teaching a monstrous lie, they never can be corrected in religion. They do it the whole rest of their life. As an example here, just that one thing, they didn't overcome lying, ever, let alone trillions of other things it's doing in its mind and heart. That was lying the rest of its life. It's doing evil the rest of its life, believing it's good, because they call evil good and good evil. Carnal man. Never overcoming lying, never learning and growing and overcoming lying by the Father's power, mercy, and favor, needing to do his will. The end was a destruction in Jerusalem. It was wiped out forever, utterly. Carnal Jerusalem wiped out. No heart, blind. With their lips, they honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Utter delusion, because that's the only thing that matters is the heart, and keeping the commandments in the heart. That is the real thing. Just lip service, all their life a lie. All the people that were perished in Jerusalem's destruction, all of them were liars. All of them were haters of Messiah, of the enemy, of the devil. Just speaking truth. It's just the reality. It's just truth. False prophet needs to hide actual truth. He doesn't understand or want anyone to have truth. He needs to hide. He's hiding from the Creator. His mind, hiding like Adam and Eve, running to the trees. The torment has been true ever since this happened. Spiritually, this torment has been true. To sin is to force cover ourselves and hide from him and be afraid, like Adam says. I was afraid of you, afraid of your voice. I heard you. It's like a child. It's fearfully and coward of its parent. It's hiding and in rebellion, never acknowledging anything it actually does as sin and lies. Ever. And then these people teach that all of creation, except the few, them, will burn in hell for all eternity, some wicked, monstrous thing. That's incredibly prideful and sick. They themselves do evil continually with their heart, far from the Creator. And then they got doctrine that makes them stand out above all for all eternity. Yes, this is boasting and far eternally above others, because it's forever, and it's a torture forever. These people are way greater than everyone else. That's what the doctrine is. The doctrine means pride and boasting way above others. That is the doctrine of hell. That doctrine has that in it already to be discerned spiritually. Then it's no wonder someone protecting that doctrine is that exactly. In his own heart, he literally is above and better than everyone. Literally, in the heart, spiritual things. And he's eternally greater than everyone, because it requires to be eternally above everyone, to be tortured forever, but then rewarded forever, with no mercy. The literal doctrine is no mercy at the end of the day, no mercy forever. These people are so blind that they'll attack these simple words and try to say it's merciful because they call good and good evil and evil good. They need to do something incredibly stupid when it's doing evil. So it's going to be desperately trying to say that hell is actually merciful. They'll all do this with their heart. It's already true. It's backed in a little in the corner. They have to say it's merciful. What are they going to say? It's not merciful? That's too obvious, isn't it? The Creator is not merciful, has no mercy forever. So the doctrine is merciless forever, literally. No mercy forever, begging, begging, begging. All eternity, burning in hell. No mercy forever is what it is. Doesn't matter what anyone else says in delusion. It's simple and clear. No mercy forever. Torture. Begging for mercy. Obviously, everybody burning in fire would be begging for mercy. And it's zero mercy forever. It's them, their heart already wants people to beg and worship them. They already are merciless because their doctrine is merciless. Their heart is merciless because their doctrine spiritually is merciless. They're just as merciless as the doctrine. They're above everyone for all eternity. And people begging them is exactly what a foul person wants. Prideful, wicked wants. I've seen it over and over again. They want you to beg them because they need to do things according to them being God. But it's them who are actually cowardly and fearful. So they need others to beg and get on their knees and beg me for mercy or for this. Give me this back. Beg me. They want you to beg. Right now, the heart doing things like that. Because they're in destruction, they have to do this sin. And they pour out their falling. But if you were to say something about it, not a single soul would admit it. They would start raging and defending themselves. That's why we can't. We've learned to not resist evil. Let it be. They can't be corrected. They want to start a war. They'll prove they're better than everyone else. They'll prove that they're right and you're wrong. In their delusional mind, they'll prove that you're blind and they're not, when all the works are righteously being discerned as blind, and they have zero evidence of blind. They'll still walk away saying, you're blind and evil. I'm good and not blind. Even though in reality, the heart utterly blind and stupid and foolish. Never having any proof or works in the heart when they make false accusations against Messiah. When Messiah says, why do you seek to kill me? Obvious what their heart's doing. What does religion do? Oh, Messiah's a liar. That's what they do. That's what they actually believe in the heart, because they do the works that prove it constantly. They already do it right now. Seen it over and over again. But when they go to church, they'll read the words and act like they're good and believe this or that. There is no reality. Their heart is far from him. The Pharisees, being God in their own mind, incredibly prideful, which is a punishment of being very stupid and foolish in reality, Father's judgment, say, who seeks to kill you? Nobody seeks to kill you. Who seeks to kill you? And it's incredibly obvious they seek to kill Messiah. Messiah, to him to see, incredibly obvious, rightly discerning and seeing what the thoughts and hearts are doing, saying, you seek to kill me. Why do you seek to kill me? They're chasing him around, wanting to destroy him. And they have to believe they're not doing that. And because they say they're not doing that, it's true in their own mind. That's how much of a God in its own mind it is. But in reality, a perfect lie, perfectly wanting to destroy him. But because they say, we don't seek to kill you, it's true. They are their own throne. They are their own counsel. They are their own doctrine. Because every knee bowed and confessed already, it's true. So that what? We won't bow. If everyone already bowed past tense, no one will bow from that day forward. Creating doctrine of what its heart already is. Nothing sicker, I think, than full predators, and because of so many things, the massive leaven and attacking everything that's good and true. So incredibly sick and obvious how sick the people are that do this. They go to people and give them doctrine that sounds smooth, sounds like it might be right because the people don't seek the Creator. So very easily deceived, because the heart's deceitful above all things. Desperately wicked, literally desperately wicked in reality in the heart. Deceitful above all things, literally deceitful above all things in reality. And then the false prophet traps and destroys them, gives them words that sound like a bit, that they're looking for their own language, and it's a delusion given to the people as a punishment for not seeking the Father's will. That's the sin. That is the sin, rebellion, not wanting to do his will. So they're punished and given delusions. When they do that, they think they chose that. It's actually chosen by the Creator as punishment. They didn't choose full preterism. The Father chose it for them, for rebelling against him, showing his judgments, showing that no one can sin without being punished utterly, and he's in utter control and sovereignty. Then they'll defend their doctrine as if it's theirs and they chose it. It's connected to them. Therefore, if we start speaking about anything that's true and the truth is destroying lies, it's connected to them personally. Therefore, you're murdering them. They need that to be true so that they can say you're doing wickedness, to throw down truth. That's attacking the evil. They need to make that stop. They need to make the truth stop. So they need to murder you and accuse you falsely. They have to. There's no other choice. Oh, it's way deeper than some stupid debate. Just speaking of the things of the heart that must be given by the Father. Forget the doctrine and what people say by themselves, words. What is the works of the heart? Because if it's utter foolishness and pride and wickedness, I mean, that person's a deceiver. He has no truth in him, in the heart. No actual truth, or believes anything that's true in the heart. Accidentally coming across right words, sure. Reading scripture and saying right words, yeah, sure. Saying things that the saints would say with words on what they see spiritually, and they end up being the same words, making them look like they understand spiritual things. Yes. Quickly doing that when they're being exposed to make it sound like they just need to get out of it real quick and make it sound like they're righteous just so they can get out without looking bad or blind. Lying perfectly in this situation, but when it goes back to church, it doesn't agree with what it agreed earlier. It only needed to agree because it was being exposed, by itself somewhere. And just agree with the words. Yeah, I do this, I believe this. And then when it goes back to church, it believes something else. It trashes what it just said. It only needs to lie there because it has no clue what it's talking about and understands nothing. So they need to say words that are similar to what his people would say, that make them sound like they understand the thing. Say things like, yeah, man doesn't want to, he justifies everything he does. Saying that makes it sound like they don't do that ever. And they literally don't know what it means. And that's all they're doing in the heart, is justifying sin and lies. But then saying it with words, if a little back and forth were to happen, what is going on here? Messiah is asking, why do you seek to kill me? These things were to happen as they've happened to me. This is what they do. They don't know what they're speaking of and what it actually means at all, because they don't seek the Creator. The only way to get truth and doctrine and good works is from him, seeking to do his will. So they'll quickly say some words that make it look like they agree with you, which makes it look like they understand when they do that. It's nasty. They only do that so they can run away and go away, looking good in their own mind, so that it doesn't look like it doesn't know. The only thing it cares about is itself. And if it looks blind or if it looks bad, that's all it cares about. Zero, nothing else. So it needs to lie and say some same words or agree, whatever the tactic is for the moment that they think that will make them walk away unscathed. They'll say anything just to make it fit the situation, which is just blatantly lying, openly, crazily. Lying through their heart constantly And then they say they don't lie. Then they'll say something in church about lying and point fingers at people when someone lies to them. It's wicked because they only care about self. They can't follow in the heart, don't resist evil. They have to seek vengeance with their heart because it requires power and understanding to do what we read. The right thing, whatever is true and good, cannot be done by man. They never do it, ever. I've never done it apart from the Creator. It's the truth. Start going through the war, learning, wrestling with the angel, wrestling with the Creator, That's what it's showing there. Jacob wrestles with the Creator. Like children wrestling with the Father. It's getting and beating the rebellion out of them. No wrestling, no understanding and learning and growing, only punishment, delusion. They need to teach things, the ones that do openly, that Messiah has come, all things are fulfilled, literally. Not even remotely having a clue what they're actually saying when they say that. They break all of his word and not seeing any of it. So then why is it being done? To deceive people and be worshipped right now and as God in their own throne. They are their own throne room and counsel, not seeking the Father's counsel and will, looking at itself and determining what's true of itself, which will be a blinding delusion, which will be wickedness continually, which will be zero truth, because the Father does not give understanding, ever, actual understanding and truth, to those that don't seek him at all, that don't have him. All of it is lies in the heart. It's just a matter of a little time discerning and dissecting the church world's doctrine and finding out they don't have any truth in the heart, zero, because a carnal man is enmity against the Creator. It hates whatever is actually good. So there's no actual truth in the heart. Their heart is far from him. The whole heart is gone. There's not 5% with him or 1%. The heart is far from him. It's not even in the realm. It's gone. How come people hate truth so much? Why would people hate this? Speaking out of knowing it's true and seeing it, being given. They'll murderously hate it because it exposes that they are all these things in the heart. Those that are will be exposed, and nothing is more evil than being exposed. Not doing it for what they do, to trash people, but hoping people come to the Father and seek his will and have life. For that intention. But the only intention they've been doing things is for self, with no understanding for life. To destroy them actually in reality, and not want life. Doing things in their own name, to be worshipped as God. That's why they've been doing things. So they have to do what? Say that Messiah's people are doing what they do, and then say it's evil, when that's all they ever do. Every attack will be hypocrisy perfectly, every time, every second. So we got a lot to watch out for. Yes, and incredible, even things not seeing right now that I know I need to see as others also. Needing to seek the Creator's will and see, or else we'll be blinded just like that. Doesn't matter what we say. Father blinds, he blinds. Child can't do anything about it. He judges, he judges. They live in Mickey Mouse kingdom thinking they can do whatever they want with no judgment, no punishment. They're not doing whatever they want. They're given delusions. Their house is given to them. This is given to them. That job is given to them. And those that have whatever they have, they can't just instantly rise to what they would want, as Bill Gates. How come they can't just do that right away? And those that are like Bill Gates can't lower themselves just because they say so. I'm going to do that. And everything that's a lie, even that is given as a punishment. The delusion is given to believe a lie. We read that plainly. It's taught in Scripture constantly without saying those literal words. But we read the words plainly. They chose their abominations, so I will choose their delusions. I, Yahuwah, will deceive that prophet. I has a righteous judgment for deceiving people and hating people with a murderous heart. They will be utterly taken by the Creator, perfectly deceived. and already are in this world, already not seeing or knowing him at all. As the world has no free will. Oh, I choose God today. Because I say I see him, I do. That's how the heart works. It's God. Whatever it says, because it says it itself, it's true. The world cannot know him or see him. It cannot say I'm righteous because of meeting my own conditions to be righteous. If I read all of Genesis today, I prove that person wrong. I'm righteous. That's what it does, literally, with everything in the heart. A carnal man cannot be sorry or repent in the heart. Cannot do that. And this truth would go out and expose someone's heart. Then, like a child, it gets angry because it needs to do whatever it dictates. Oh, that's not true. There's nothing I can't do. So out of spite, it says to itself, I'm going to prove that person wrong. It only cares about itself and proving people wrong and things like this. Child. It doesn't have any understanding or care or love for truth. Zero. So it goes out and says, sorry, you idiot. See? What do you mean I can't say sorry? It walks away believing it just did that, and it still didn't say sorry. It did that out of spite with the heart. There was no actual repentance in the heart. It just did what it's always been doing, and then they prove it with their works. The discernment, any given thing we see, they prove it with their works. Their heart literally just didn't repent right there because it can't. It's an enemy to the Creator. It can't repent of itself. Can't be righteous of itself. This is why we read, none are good, none are righteous, no, not even one, seek him. That says, oh, I read the Bible today. I did this today. Proof I seek him. And the heart actually didn't do anything. It only did that thing with a corrupt intention to make it look like it did what it thinks that means. There was no actual worship of the Creator or repentance or this or that. It only did that carnal thing on the surface to confirm to itself that it did it. That was the only intention for doing it, which has nothing to do with actually doing something in the heart. Zero. It's shocking. It's stunning. The world will never agree. We can't fight the world like that, like the world fights. Fighting for troops, ready to go with sword to kill people. With Messiah, the disciples weren't understanding yet. You don't know what spirit you're of, Messiah said to them. Yeah, zealousness, zealous to do evil while looking like something like his scripture, looking like this or that, making a show for. So someone will say and speak of themselves, you seem zealous, but you don't know what you're talking about. They're talking about themselves. When did they seek the Creator with all their heart? When did they ask him to do his will and understand truth? Because we acknowledge we don't know what it means. Is the only reason why we get understanding is for not knowing, acknowledging truth. They just spoke about themselves. They have some kind of zealous thing without any knowledge, without a heart. It's just a form of knowledge, just zealous for doing evil. Zealous for deceiving people, because that's the more people you deceive, the higher worldly reward you get. More money, more fame, more women, more this, whatever it's wanting already in the heart. It needs worship because it's a God in its own mind, needs to prove it. But in reality, because of its God in its own mind, it's actually sorely in destruction. That's why it needs worship. And when it gets it, it never fulfills anything. So they need more. And when they do that, they're punished and then handed over to sin. So they drink more blood and do more of whatever they're doing until an utter destruction at the end. They will have been utterly, perfectly backwards in their heart. Already was, but just waxing worse and worse. Only to be exposed on that great day with wrath being revealed in them. Judgment revealing every secret thing. No one ever went against the Creator's will and purpose. It never happened. It never will. Because when someone's in a literal delusion the rest of their life, they didn't go against the Creator. The Creator got them with his powerful judgments. The Creator determined everything. They didn't do their own will. So in one sense, we could speak of this not doing their own will. In the other, we speak they do whatever they want, do their will. Depends where we're speaking from, natural or spirit, or this angle or that. In their mind, doing whatever they want, but there's no reality to it. They're being judged and punished right now on the spot. Anyone, without partiality, his people, even his people right now. What happens? Why would someone teach that this great judgment happened already? So that there's no destruction to come. And because they say that's what the doctrine means, therefore nothing will happen. It's a delusion. They can't see anything in this world. Stunning. They say, oh, the great tribulation. So, only speaking carnally, understanding carnal tribulation, like physical tribulation. It already happened, the smooth prophet says. Therefore, it's all good. Nothing bad will happen. It's such a God in its own mind. How about sin? They're being punished for sin on the spot. What do you mean nothing bad will happen? How about spiritual destruction for doing evil? What do you mean, false prophet? It's all good. Nothing's happening. It's blind. It has no clue what it's speaking of. They're only doing that according to what it believes in the heart already. That there's no judgments, and there won't be any, because it's God. No one's judging him or her. Now, there's no reality to that, but because they say doctrine, they answer their own question and then say, because of this, it's true now. They're not talking about anything. They're just literally talking about the doctrine they're speaking of and debates they're speaking of. There's no reality to what's actually happening in the world, and truth and commandments and law breaking in the heart. No reality to anything. Because God says it's so, therefore it is, even though all the evidence is looking at it and saying fool, even though all of creation is looking at it and saying blind. Just like the carnal Jews in Jerusalem, there's no judgment. Jerusalem's not being destroyed, every stone crumbled. If they believed that, they would have ran out of there. They would have believed. All of them perished. And then those that, divided and scattered to all nations afterwards. Jerusalem got wiped out, not a stone standing on another with its temple, the prized thing. Jerusalem got wiped out like a bowl gets wiped, like we read in Isaiah somewhere, I believe. He wipes nations like he wipes a bowl. That's how easy it is. Done. Stunning. So what is the heart of man? No judgments ever, right now or to come. It doesn't actually believe that. It doesn't matter what they say. When we find out what the heart actually believes, going through the cover, through their words, through their doctrine, that's when the animal rages, the beast rages, because it doesn't even believe the things it says or understand them. When it makes it sound like it believes in judgments. And it doesn't in the heart at all, zero, because it's God still. God can't be judged. It's God already on its throne, standing on pearls and jaspers. No one can judge me. I'm God, it says in its heart. All right, I got an order. Oh, my favorite place. All right. So sick and stunning, man. It's so blind. It's a lawless heart. Whole world's in lawlessness. That's what Messiah is saying. Workers of lawlessness. He won't be talking about carnal doctrine and words and letters. What did the heart do? What was the heart? Far from him. Lawless. The only way to keep his way is to be under his favor, sacrifice in reality. We're not required to fulfill it in one day. It's monstrous. And we would never want to say, because that's true, don't seek him, don't seek to sin, don't sin on purpose now because of his favor. Just because someone talks about grace and reads it in the Bible somewhere doesn't mean that they're of him. It doesn't take long to find out they're not, the many. But because they read the Bible and joined religion, I'm saved. This is the definition of saved. Oh, let me read grace real quick. I read it. Oh, I agree to the terms and conditions, letters, words, nothing in the heart. Yeah, I believe these letters. It'll say grace. Therefore, it has grace, and now everyone else is going to hell. They didn't do any good works. Everyone who's not agreeing to their terms and conditions with words and doctrine, because of that, they're burning in hell for all eternity. Yes, everything backwards. Even the reasons people go to hell, no reality. Nothing to do with works of the heart, zero. Of course, they won't say this. They're hiding that. But speaking of the heart, as seeing through it, they're spotted for doing this. Because someone didn't join their religion and agree to the same words as them, extraordinarily prideful. Trillions of divisions, each one literally thinking it's right and the other's wrong. Trillions of divisions, all of them with the same mind like that. That's blinding pride, literally blind. Should fear the Creator because of all these things. Fear that He's able to cast body and soul in Gehenna all at once. Nothing little man can do. They'll be in the judgment. Put the shame instantly. You start seeing these things. You start seeing that all people without the Father, they're evil continually, not that we're good of ourselves. No one is good of self. This is just true. Without the Father, it's just evil. Lies and deception. It never does good works in the heart. We start doing these good works the Father gives us. There's no fellowship. They're enemies. It's going to be enmity. The whole world will go against Messiah people. They always have, because they do what works with the heart. Forget all the divisions and clothes. Change their clothes every day, you know? Different clothes people wear, different covers, different divisions and delusions. Behind the clothes, it's a naked person. It's the same nakedness as someone else. Strip the clothes, and it's the same nakedness. It's not different. It's the same heart inside the body, isn't it? The inward things, the heart inside the body, the inner man, his spirit, the inner man. Just like the natural man, the body, the inner things is what gives life, you know, like physically, literally. But it's the Creator giving life, not it by itself. And even these things represent something, heaven. It's not the outward man, the appearance and covers and delusions and doctrines. It's what the inner man, what is the heart doing? And no one thinks that their heart could be seen for what they actually do, because it's inside their body. No one sees my heart. Someone already has that in their heart. The Creator doesn't see me. That's why we read that in Scripture so many times. The Father, through His Word, is speaking of the heart's thoughts, not what people say. The rich man in his heart, like we read, despises the poor, and in his heart, he says, Elohim does not see. He does not see. Nobody sees. That's what the heart already believes and sees. It's not a lie. It's the only things we care about is what the heart's doing. Is it covering that? You bet it's trying to cover that the best it can by looking good, by donating, showing it gives things to poor people and stuff. It's destroying them in reality. Their heart's destroying them. That's the only thing that actually matters. What is the heart doing? It's murdering the poor. It's offended at the poor. It's just so amazing to me. It's astonishing. It's offended at poor because when it looks at someone poor, it sees itself, sees something about itself, so it's angry at seeing that it's poor. It reminds them of them being poor, miserable, wretched, blind, and naked. The reality, our Father is perfect. His Word is perfect. What it means is perfect. We need to conform to His will and His understanding, not our own stupid understanding. Lay not on our own understanding. It's offended when it sees this or that because spiritually it is what it's looking at. So it needs to point a finger like we read. Put away the pointing of the finger and the fist of wickedness, Isaiah 58. What fasting is. People fast the evil way without the Creator for selfish reasons, doing what the Pharisees did with the heart, saying, oh, poor me, I'm suffering. South and ashes, spread them around because I'm fasting. Oh, it's shameful. It's a God in its own mind. It's fasting so that it can have pity on itself and want people to pity him. He chose a fast and now he's suffering. What a righteous man. Isaiah 58. The Creator destroys the man's heart's understanding and its stupid works here. Exposing on fasting, saying, isn't this my fasting? Isn't this my fasting I choose? Not your fasting, what you think it means. Selfish reasons always selfish. Look at us, our faces, we messed up our hair and we just need to look like we're suffering. Oh, pity me, pity me. That's incredibly insecure and prideful. Anyone that's prideful is incredibly insecure because it's a punishment. Whatever someone's strongly masquerading, they are the opposite thing in the heart. So that's how he gets people to pour out their folly. Anyone without him, they pour out their folly and what they really are while they think they're hiding it. Utterly taken by the Creator. Utterly taken. Pharisees poured out their folly, that they were murderers and liars and deceivers and liars, lying constantly. They thought they were hiding it pretty well. They called good evil and evil good in the heart. So then what is the truth? Don't love money in the heart, because that's the truth for the heart to be understood with the heart. What is mankind without his spirit? Loves money already, already true. And now it needs to project to make it look like what it thinks it should look like, that it doesn't love money. And some of them are so strongly judged. Some of these airplane mansion people, they're blind and stupid. They have no clue what they're doing. That's the reality. They literally think they're good and that they're God and that they don't love money. And they're smoking with even their image, pouring out their folly, how much they desperately love money and seek it with all their heart. And they literally in their heart don't believe they love money, and they'll say things like that. The guys with the planes and billions of dollars. What do I got here? What on earth is going on, man? School bus. The Father is showing the shame. It's pouring out. They just never agree with it or see it or realize it. The day coming, though, it's for us to start seeing ourselves. That you see the sins, caring about the sin and not pointing the finger with condemnation, because how easily the Creator could get us blind and make us foolish while we even see it. Now it looks like we're following a school bus for the next few miles. People pretend that they care about the kids in there. They don't give two craps. For real in the heart, they don't care. It's just a masquerade, nothing's real. People in the most sin, very deep sin in the heart, they have to masquerade. There's a camera here, the devil, I don't know if it picks up phones. They have to masquerade the most that they care about people because they're in destruction and hate them. Okay. Reality in the heart is hatred towards humanity and murderous hatred. Not hatred for evil, seeing it spiritually what this is and learning, but a literal carnal hatred for mankind. needs to masquerade as the devil, as the father of darkness, because he masquerades. Mankind knows how to do it. Someone's in sin, sold under sin to the devil for sin. Few being bought back for a price. Now, the rest later at some point after this judgment, after being exposed utterly, going through the judgment of dying to self. They have to show how much they love people because they don't. So then they will, the wicked being insecure, always needing to cover. If they see actual good works, they have to attack it. If they see anything good and real that's being done that they never have done, they have to attack it and say, you're doing exactly what they've been doing. All must do that to Messiah's people. How is it that someone can be in this, not of this world, in it but not of it, and be loved by the world? Don't we know the friends of the world are enemies of the Creator? And anyone that's an enemy of the Creator will be an enemy of Messiah's people. Literally hated by all for his name's sake, but the Father doesn't pour out the testing and tribulation all at once. He gives a 10-year-old what a 10-year-old can handle, and he increases this way. But the testing never goes away because he has it all planned out. It needs to get even more difficult, but then he gives you power to start matching it, seek to do his will. And we end up doing what the world's literally not doing. I mean, it's growing far away from this world because of the Father's works. Only through fiery testing, the sun, the Father's light, grows someone. The heat grows them, tests them. Only thing that can be. Sorry, they're a little bumpy. Let's see, where am I here? I need to go to the right. I should get off now. I'm starting to become dangerous. Man, that train is sick. It gets you every time. It's 20 minutes long. That's a speed train. It's one of the worst railroad crossings ever. Horrible. I just went through it while the things were going down. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't be on my phone, I guess, when I'm driving. So I'll be stopped by it. It'll come down right as I'm coming up to it. I need to obey and not go through as the things are coming down, just to get through it faster. Did evil and did wrong. I think that's it. There's nothing to speak of with the carnal man. He's never talking about truth, which is reality also. Never. Someone apart from the Father is an enemy of his people. They're flesh only. They're against the Spirit. They're against the Father. They're against his people. Someone that has his Spirit. That's what the flesh is against. Everything that's actually good, which comes from above, from the Father. They'll be an enemy of us. That's the only thing we can expect is tribulation to increase. There's nothing to talk about when someone says we'll be raptured from some tribulation someday in the future. They're saying that while people are dying, while buildings are burning, while even the church world, not because of his namesake, but when someone goes to war and they die from the other side, does that mean that they died in Messiah's namesake? Crazy. But nevertheless, it's happened. People from the church world have suffered some kind of physical persecution or whatever because of whatever's going on in this nation or that nation over the last 2,000 years. What is that? What are they doing? It's blind. There's no reality. It's only thinking of itself as long as, there's no tribulation for me. Who cares about other church world denominations and peoples in other places? Suffering some kind of bad time, physical tribulation. That's going to happen. Obviously, it's always been true. But what will they do out of being blind? Oh, we're being persecuted for Messiah's namesake. This is the tribulation. They're being punished because the harlot's coming down, just like Jerusalem coming down. Now, Jerusalem is the harlot. Carnal Jerusalem is the type of what always would be after until the end, the real end, of which that was a type of the end. The harlot falls down and is destroyed at the end, and spiritually not accepted and already destroyed spiritually. The lampstand already taken, already blind and dead, already caught like a thief in the night, not watching and praying, according to what that really means, which can't be done without seeking the Father with our heart for real. They're watching and praying is like looking up at the sky or something. That's it. Or just nothing. It's not on their mind. Doesn't matter. There's nothing to watch. Because they're God. They're already know good and evil. As Satan says, evil, you shall be God. Gods. Because there's two of them, You'll be Elohim. You'll be God. You will know good and evil. It's done. For sinning. For sinning, you will know good and evil and be God. It's the most backwards thing that is the backwards. That is perfectly backwards. Spiritual, everything perfectly backwards. That's what man is. He knows good and evil already. He's God. To dictate and counsel according to his own throne. Wait a second, where am I going? Okay, I better get off the phone because now I'm just going places I'm not supposed to be. This is the wrong place. It's pretty close from here to here, but I go to this place a lot, so I just went in auto mode. Going somewhere I'm not supposed to be. Okay, there we go. Oh, man. Anytime true words out of truth comes out, it'll be falsely accused and not understood, literally, by the enemies, those without the Father. That's all that's ever been happening and can happen. That's a tribulation all in itself. It's a tribulation all in itself that nobody understands. It's real. And false accusations and murderous hatred. Always running away, never answering, never wanting to give something back. That's doing evil. Someone's going to do something, say something, give something. It's only a one-way street. They never give back. They run. They leave it on the table and show that they're blind and don't care or know. So why did they do what they just did? For some other foul intention that's carnal, out of blind delusion. Somebody runs. What are they doing? They're lying to people. They're deceiving them. This is destroying them. This is actual hatred in the heart, for real. And people will call good evil. They'll call this hatred and murder. Why? Because out of coward, insecurity, and wickedness. Because it's being exposed. Because the Father's word always discerns the thoughts and hearts of men, and it's like a sword, sharper than any sword. It destroys, it threatens to attack, so they have to run and save their beast self. They got to run and save themselves, which is to be in destruction continually. They're going to get caught. A few are getting caught now. That's the few chosen ultimately. They're going to get caught and destroyed anyways. They're running to save their soul out of cowardness, afraid of good, afraid of the Creator, afraid of acknowledging sin. It's amazing. So then they have to call you a coward when you run, when all the works show that they cowardly run away. Here's a oh man, it's one more street down. All right, it's LA right now. Goodness, there's going to be some serious chaos in the future. Famine's already starting. This is not normal. Places shutting down earlier than they ever do, shutting down some days because they're out of supplies. What's happening? Why is that happening? How come man can't stop it? Isn't he God? Doesn't he have free will? Just supply the food already. You know? How come every nation that was destroyed before couldn't stop it? You know, man is so blind, there's no even reason to try to. You can't. There's no fellowship with someone that's blind. Everything's blind. It's too prideful. It's God. It's right and you're wrong. That's it. It's just a game. Serious things are a game to a child. A child looks, peeks through the window, spying out the liberty of the mature, of the adults. And it doesn't understand what the adults are talking about and laughs and makes jokes and thinks everything is funny. Welcome to Babylon, spiritual wickedness and children running everything. No clue what they're doing. Everything's funny. Every commercial's funny. Everything is retarded and evil, you know, and perverted. These false prophets expose themselves as perverts. They don't believe in any creator. They mock that. It's a joke to actually believe in a creator. They're punished like this by the creator. That even what they do, they have to like openly mock it, but they don't realize they're doing it. You believe me, you deserve punishment for believing me. That's what's inside every false prophet. But not understanding, it's just being punished, judged. Huh, you actually believe there's a creator? That speaks to people. You actually believe, but then that's what's deep somewhere inside because of the Father's judgment and punishment. But when there's people around and it's business and religion is getting threatened, it has to masquerade. You know, we see them movies. Act dead, act like you're a retard, act sick. It's so cowardly so that it can blend in, so that it doesn't get looked at and picked. Oh, act like a retard real quick. And it does that out of pure coward. While it thinks it's strong, it does these things with its heart all day long, blending in like a coward, like a lizard. All right, I gotta go. Peace, take care, seek truth only from the Creator above. Worship. Do not worship mankind. He's a fool of himself. He can do nothing.